Madden Guides, a video breakdown. We're going to take a look at a blitz setup out of the 4-2-5 under that brings some serious A-gap pressure. Generally, it ends up coming from the strong side defensive tackle, and you may also get pressure from various other defenders depending on how the blocking sets up. The play that we use for this video breakdown is from the 4-2-5 under, and the name of the play is called a free fire. And you can only find this particular play out of just one playbook, and that just happens to be the Buffalo Bills. Before I actually show the blitz setup, I want to go ahead and take a look at the pass coverages and blitz assignments with this particular play before the snap. So let's go ahead and take a look at those briefly. And as you look at it, you've got 5 defenders that are in man coverage right here as you look at your screen. So those are the 5 defenders that are in man coverage. And then you're going to have 6 defenders that are going to be rushing the quarterback. So we'll take a look at all these guys right here as you look at your screen. Now, the key to this particular blitz setup, if you were to run this as is, generally, if you don't make any adjustments at all, it's usually going to be one of these 2 linebackers that are actually going to bring the pressure on the quarterback. So what you're going to end up having here is, let's go ahead and zoom in. It's really going to be coming from one of these 2 linebackers as you look at your screen right here. So you're going to have either this guy shooting through this gap right here, or this linebacker here. Now you'll notice this linebacker is actually lined up closer. That's only because he moved up automatically. I didn't really do that. But with that said, that's really where the pressure is generally going to come from. Now, if you want to do something that I'm going to show here, that's going to allow you to get some A-gap pressure specifically from this particular defender right here, which is going to be the strong side defensive tackle. That's going to be Oliver. Now, a lot of times he'll come in and he'll shoot through and get some A-gap pressure, or you may get some pressure coming from this guy as well, which is going to be the weak side defensive tackle, which is going to be Miller. That's the reason that we use this package. So a lot of times you may get one of the 2 of those guys in. You may also get some pressure coming from the outside here. In this case, it may come from this linebacker. This is Morrill. He may end up coming in as well in applying pressure on the quarterback. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to get some pressure. A lot of times it's 2 guys that get in pretty consistently. And what I'm about to show is something that I haven't really seen anybody else show. I didn't even think about it until this season. I've been doing some other things I was showing last season. But this season, what I'm about to show, it does bring some pressure. So let's go ahead and I'll show you guys the setup. All right, I'm going to show you guys one of the versions that I like to run with the 4-2-5 under free fire as far as a blitz setup is concerned. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and show blitz, and that's going to bring everybody closer to the line of scrimmage as you look at it. Next thing you want to do is you want to take control of this linebacker right here, and then you're going to put him into the A gap, or not in the A gap, basically right across, more or less across from the center as you look at. And I want you guys to look at your screen here on the controller. You're going to notice that I'm pressing down on the left stick. Now he's not going off sides. And if you're in regular game mode, you still won't go offside. Even if your opponent tries to do a fake snap, you're still probably not going to go off sides. Now, there's a chance that you could, depending on if you start moving him around too much and all that crazy stuff. But if you leave him right where he's at, once he gets up there and keep holding down that stick, more than likely, he is not going to go offside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run the play. I want you guys to watch it, and then we'll go into the X and O's and we'll take a look at this play a little bit more in depth. So let's go ahead and run it. And right there, you can see you guys get that pressure. And then you also see that I bailed out with that linebacker and dropped him back into coverage. So what I want to do here is I want to go into the X and O's of the play, and we'll take a look at it. From the top-down view in instant replay, we can get a better idea of how the X and O's of this particular play work. So what I want to do here is the first thing I'm going to do is kind of zoom in a little bit here on this particular linebacker, the one that I told you guys to manually move up. And he's lined up right here. As you look at the top-down view here, you can clearly see that he's not offside. So let's go back and look at it from here. You can see he's not offsides, right? So even with holding down that left stick, he still doesn't go offsides. Now, as I pointed out, you could go offsides with him, depending on how much you move him around and all that other stuff. But as long as you just hit the RB button, bring him up, take control of him, move him up where I'm showing you there, he should not go offsides. And as I talked about earlier, even if your opponent tries to do a fake snap, more than likely one of his players are going to go offsides if he keeps doing the fake snap. So the other thing I want to do is I want to zoom out just a little bit here. Now I want to show you guys kind of how the blocking sets up with this particular play. So again, I moved this guy up here, and what I'm trying to achieve is to get this guy right here, which is the center, to look to block me as soon as the ball snapped. All right, that's the first thing we need to happen with this particular play. And then you're going to have this right guard. What he's going to do here is you look at your screen here is he's going to look to block this linebacker who's rushing the quarterback. And then finally over here to the right, or at least on the right side of the offensive line, obviously you're going to get him to go ahead and block this defensive end over here, over to that side. So that's kind of that blocking sets up there. Now let's go back towards the left side and look at this. This guy right here is kind of key because well, a lot of times what happened is with this particular, what's going to happen with this, rather than looking to block out here, he may look to block this guy right here. Rather not be this guy or this guy, he's going to look to block one of them. More likely in this particular example, he's going to block this guy right here, which is going to be the weak side defensive tackle, which is Miller. Now, as you look at it, you would think what would happen here is you would think that this guy, which is the left guard, would look to block that guy, and this guy right here would look to block that guy. Well, that's not always the case. So as you watch this, see how that works here? See how he kicks inside the left guard? He's kicking inside. He's looking to block right here. There's the left guard. And then the left tackle's looking, and he's kicking inside to block this guy right here. They're both are. So there's the problem right there. You got two guys looking to block this guy right off the bat. Now keep in mind, I didn't make any offensive line adjustments and all that, and I realize you can do that. The cool thing about this particular game is you can do all kinds of crazy stuff on the defensive side to get your opponent confused of what the hell you're doing. So there's a lot of things you can do to try to confuse you. You can make this look like another setup, or make it look like the same setup, but from a whole nother defense. And, you know, he's going to end up trying to slide protect, even though you're not even doing this blitz thing that you're doing here. At any rate, as you look at it, those two guys now are going inside basically to block that weak side defensive tackle. Now, as I zoom in a little more here, you can see this guy's one I talked about earlier. He's going to look to block this. Let's zoom back out again. As I pointed out earlier, he's going to go ahead and block this linebacker right here. So the weak side defense or strong side defense tackle isn't going to get blocked. He's going to squeeze through and get a free shot at the quarterback as you look at it. And as I pointed out earlier, this left tackle sliding in to look to block to the inside on that weak side defensive tackle. In this case, this guy, which is this linebacker, remember we used the LB pass rush package here, he's going to get a free shot at the quarterback. So you get two guys getting free shots at the quarterback here, and it's fairly consistent with this. Right there, there's the two guys getting in, which is nice. You know, you get two guys getting in, you got some decent coverage, even though I know it's a cover zero defense. But that's why also another thing I want to point out here, I didn't call man press coverage. If you want to call man press coverage, by all means do so, and you want to do some inside outside shade and all that stuff, that's cool. I'm just showing you the basics of the setup here, at least how to get the pressure. Now as far as what you do behind the cover or behind the blitz, that's up to you as far as the pass coverages. But you can see right there we get the pressure. Now if we go back here, the other thing I want to show, I remember I talked about earlier, I'm in control of this defender right here. Remember that linebacker I brought up? So again, I engage the center. I'm going to stay for just a second, 1001, 1002. And then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and drop back. Now, if I want to, I could go ahead and continue to rush the quarterback and see if I could get in as well. But here I'm going to drop him back and try to take away anything coming over the middle as quick as I can. Now, that's up to you. If you want to rush them, you can rush them. If you don't, you don't. That's up to you. If you do rush them, then a lot of times it assures you that you're going to get a two-man pass rush as far as two guys getting in. If you don't manually pass rush them, you drop them back, there's a chance you may only get one guy in. I just want to point that out to you. So that's something you're going to want to play around with. But you can see right there, we get the pressure on the quarterback. Now what I want to do while I'm here is I'm going to go ahead and bring up this ticker again, and I want to show you guys the ticker so you guys can see this, and we can show you how this is going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and reset this, and we'll see how fast I really can get in here. Let's go ahead and reset the ticker here. Take a look at this. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and run the ticker right now, and we'll see how fast we get in here. So right there, that was maybe a little bit slower than I did earlier when I showed like 1.83. Let's try it one more time with the ticker here and see if I can get in there. So roughly right around 2 seconds there I got on that time. So that's still pretty good. You know, I'm seeing it get a little faster than that, but that's still good. So right around 2 seconds, which is a pretty quick blitz, I would think you would say. Plus, as you looked at it with that, we end up getting two guys in and getting the pressure on the quarterback, which is really nice. So at any rate, I want to point that out to you that it's certainly, you know, a defense that's definitely going to bring the pressure on the quarterback. All right, again, the setup's pretty much the same, but with one additional step here. So we're going to go ahead again and call the show blitz. And then we're going to call QB contain as you look at your screen right there. So there it is right there. There's the blitz setup. Everything's the same. Only difference is I've got the 2 defensive ends now in QB contain. So the rest of the thing, as far as the rest of the setup, as I mentioned, is already set up right there. So again, we're going to put them over the head of the, just over the center. And again, as you look at your controller and look at the controller I'm in control of here, you can see clearly that I'm pressing down. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and rush him and do the same thing. This time I'm actually going to go ahead and manually rush him as well. I'm not going to bail him out and drop him back. So let's go ahead and run this, and then we'll go back one more time into the X and O's and take a look at it one more time. So again, we get that same pressure on the quarterback. Now, as you look, you also got another guy coming in there as well. Let's go into the X and O's and take a look at it real quick. Actually, let me do this one more time real quick with the setup here so you guys can see it again. So there it is right there. That's how quick this setup is. Now look at that. I almost went offsides. You got to be careful right there. That would be offsides. If they were to snap the ball, that's offsides. So if that happens, what I'm going to suggest is you release him and then you go back and grab him again if that happens, because you get too close like that, you're going to go offsides. I'm glad you actually got to see that. That's how you go offsides, what I just did there. So you got to be real careful with this when you're messing around with it. But let's go ahead and run this in same thing. Let's make sure we're in QB contain here, and you can see right there we are. So let's go ahead and run it, same thing. And this time we got 2 guys in again on the pressure on the quarterback. So, you know, it's a nice little setup that's going to bring some pressure on the quarterback pretty consistently. You know, something from the 4-2-5 under free fire. It does have some risks, obviously, but let's go back in one more time here into the X and O's and take a look at it one more time. All right, we're back in instant replay. So again, I can show you guys the X and O's of the play with QB contain. So as you look at it, we went and hot routed these 2 guys, or not hot routed, we put them both in QB contain through the defense adjustment. So you can see right there, they're in QB contain. And then as far as this guy, again, he's lined up, head up over the center. We're looking to go ahead and engage him. This time I'm actually going to pass rush. I'm not going to drop him back. I'm going to pass rush and continue to see if I can get some pressure on the quarterback as well with him. So that's really it right there. As you look at it, I'm going to go ahead and run through this, and you can see we still get the A-gap pressure coming from this strong side defense tackle, which is Oliver. And then as you look over here, this guy's in QB contain. At this point, he's not being blocked as the left tackle is looking to block to the inside. The one thing he's doing, he's just standing there making sure the quarterback doesn't try to roll out, so the quarterback doesn't roll out to this direction. If he did, and then if the quarterback did try to roll out here, then unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to find a place to run to as you look at it. So if he was to try to roll out in this area here, this guy right here is going to be a QB contain to take that away. If he stays in the pocket, eventually this guy is going to end up rushing the quarterback, as you see on your screen here, such as what I'm showing here. So right there, there's your pressure on the quarterback, pretty nice. And as you look at the coverages, as we zoom out, again, you got that one-on-one coverage. You know, as far as all those pre-snap adjustments that you might want to do with that, that's up to you. I just want to show the basics as far as the blitz setup. So that's really it, guys. As far as this particular defense, it definitely brings some pressure on the quarterback. It's one of a few different setups that I got from the 4-2-5 under free fire. There are a lot of other defenses that you'll find in the game where you can use this same technique that's going to get you some pressure. I would suggest trying to lab and see if it works. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video breakdown. I'll be doing another one from this particular defense soon. Also got another one I want to show. It's a mid-blitz zone, or mid-blitz from a double mug. That's really real effective. Using something very similar to this concept I've been showing here. So guys, bear with me, and you know, as far as with these video breakdowns, as I said, I'm going to be a little less breaking down as much as I like to, only because of my job, but I'll get out here when I can, and I'll break them down throughout the season. I appreciate you guys listening and watching the video breakdown.